Hi guys, welcome or welcome back again to another juicy video. How are you guys doing? I know you're doing absolutely fantastic. A very big welcome to you if you are new to my channel and my space. Hi, my name is Becca. I'm a migrant nurse originally from Ghana in West Africa. If you're new to my channel and my space, hi, my name is Becca. I did a video, my very recent video I did was just me pouring out about all the saga and the misfortune or unfortunate happenings that are happening in the life of healthcare assistants, domiciliary carers who have been privileged to come into the UK somewhere about 2 years down the line, where the healthcare assistant program was added to the shortage occupation list. And myself and other content creators, we did a lot of videos. However, I don't think I've done a proper video of telling people what goes into healthcare assistants or senior carers or domiciliary carers here in the UK. So in today's video, I'm just going to be talking you through the routines of healthcare assistants or domiciliary carers, how they do their job, how they go about stuff, so that if it is something that you are wondering to come into or you're thinking about, should I come in, should I not come in, you will be well informed to make an informed decision and you would know what you are coming into. Right, so healthcare assistant or healthcare, irrespective of where you find yourself, being it a doctor, a nurse, a dietitian, a pharmacist, a nutritionist, a healthcare assistant, a domiciliary carer, even a cleaner, wherever you find yourself in a healthcare, for me it's a privilege for you to be helping or assisting people who do not have what it takes to be on their feet, helping them to get their independence as rapidly as possible. No matter what you are contributing to the team, your effort is equally important. When you're a healthcare assistant here in the UK, is different from back home, and it's also different from the sector where you find yourself in, right? As a registered nurse, I work with healthcare assistants every day of my life. As far as I am on duty, I work with either a senior carer or a healthcare assistant, either band 2, band 3, or band 4. I work with associate practitioners, or what we call the nurse associate, who are equally, they are in between nurse assistant, healthcare assistants and nurses. They also have a license with the Nurse and Midwifery Council. I work with nurse apprentice. I work with student nurses. I'm also a practice assessor for students who come on clinical placement. So I evaluate their work, I evaluate what they do on clinical placement so that they can go back to school to add it to their CPD. Right. So if you're a healthcare assistant and you are in the NHS, what you do in the NHS is slightly different from what you do when you're in the care home. It's also different from what you do if you are a domiciliary carer. So if you are in the hospital like the NHS or the private hospitals, it is not too physical. You don't put in a lot of effort or a lot of work in your job. So what you do basically is that after you've taken handover in the morning, the nurses are going to do the allocation. So they'll tell you where you're going to work. Usually it's a bay. They'll assign you a bay between 6 to 10 patients based on how heavy the ward is. After you've taken the handover, you tidy around your patient environment to make sure that the environment is safe. You offer them drinks according to their salt review. So if they're on level 1 fluid, you know that you have to thicken them. If they're on level 2 fluid, you know that you have to thicken them. All of these trainings are going to be given you before you start your job. They're going to be telling you what to do, how to approach, feeding and all of those. You don't need to rack your head around it. And if you already have a healthcare assistant background, or you're already a registered nurse, some of these things will not be difficult for you to catch up with. So you give them fluid, you make sure that they are well hydrated. After that, you provide them with comfort and care. So based on their comfort needs, if the patient is mobile, you walk them to the toilet. If they've got a catheter in situ, you make sure the catheter is draining well. You take care of their pressure areas. You also keep track of their fluid intake and output. And then at the end of the 24 hours, the nurse on duty is going to countersign. If the patient is having incontinence issues and wears incontinence pads, you are going to provide assistance with changing the pads, providing continence care, check their pressure areas. Sometimes the nurse does that as well. You basically offer support to your patients, right, in the hospital. Then you take their observations, okay? So you take their blood pressure, their temperatures, their respiratory rates, their oxygen saturation levels. If they are diabetic, you do their BMs, yeah? So within the shift, these are the basic things you'll be doing. And then if the nurse wants you to do any other thing, they're going to be telling you, assigning you to any other job as and when you can assist them based on your capacity. It shouldn't be something that you are not familiar with or something that you do not know how to do. If you don't know how to do it, you just tell them, I don't know how to do it. They can offer you some support in that area. If you are in the care home, it's quite different, or it's a little bit different in the sense that in the care home, the patients there are very physical. The patients there are heavy. Some of them are demented. They don't have corpus mentors. They are basically confused, and if they are on their feet, they are prone to falling. They can refuse their food. They are very frail people. Sometimes they are bed bound, and you have to offer support with moving and handling. So you're going to see most of the hoisting, that's helping them transfer using the SARA study. In some workplaces, it's good because they have the overhead hoist, where you can basically use the overhead hoist to, hoist your patient. If they don't have it, then you use the manual hoisting to hoist your patient. Use the SARA study. If they need, the commode, you give them the commode. You assist them with dressing, washing and dressing, taking them out into the garden for activities. You also support them with feeding. If it's oral feeding, you give them. If it's enteral feeding, sometimes the nurses do it. If you're a senior carer, they can train you to be doing those bits as well. So in the care home, it's more physical and it's more of paperwork. In the care home, the carers also do the paperwork as well, but in the hospital, it's mostly the nurses that do the paperwork. The carers don't do much of the paperwork. And also because in the care home, they don't have as much nurses as carers. They've got a lot of the carers, so the carers do most of the jobs than the nurses do. So if you're in a care home, you find yourself doing most of the nursing jobs that will be done in the hospital. You think that they're supposed to be done by the nurse, but in the care home, you find the carers doing them. It's more physical, it's more involving, especially if you're in the dementia care. You have heavy residents who are very fast on their feet. You have to be monitoring them so that they don't fall, and then also take up any responsibility as and when it's assigned by the nurse. If you're in the community, it's also different. That is what we call the domiciliary care. That's where you'll be going to people's homes. You'll be going home to render care. Sometimes you are lucky, they can give you clients who live close apart. And one thing that happens with domiciliary care that most people do not understand domiciliary care, because we don't have anything like that back home, right? So what happens is that when patients go to hospital, I've worked a bit in A&E, right? So when they come into hospital, we assess them, we assess their needs. Then we either refer them to the navigation team, or what we call the occupational therapist, or the social services, right? So these people are going to assess their needs. They can go to their homes and see the needs that they want, or the things that they need, the support that they need, basically. So let's say a patient has had a fall at home. The patient lives on a story building and they've been brought to the hospital. We realize that they've got a fracture. The team is going to go to their home to see if they can navigate their way on the stairs. If they cannot, they'll have to arrange for a flat or a room or an apartment that is on ground floor. After that, they will assess, can the patient take care of their own activities of daily living? Can they cook for themselves? Can they clean for themselves? Can they bath themselves? If they have pets or anything, can they look after these things that they are supposed to do to keep them going in life? If they can't, then we'll make a referral to social service. Social services are going to make an input, which we call the social input, right? So the social input is basically arranging for something we call the package of care. So package of care is basically arranging for people who go into the homes of these vulnerable people who cannot perform these activities of daily living. And what these people are going to be doing is that they are going to offer them support. So based on their dependency level or their support level, we arrange the package of care according to their support level. So if the patient cannot do anything at all, maybe we can give them QDS package of care, which is 4 times daily. So people or carers will have to go into their homes 4 times a day to offer support. So in the morning, you can go to the home to help them brush their teeth, take a shower or bath, do bed bath or whatever, give them their medication, help them tidy up their room, prepare them food to eat. If they have food already, help them to feed. It depends on the level of the need. If it is TDS package of care, that's 3 times a day package of care, where the person will be going in 3 times a day. If it is QDS, if it is BD package of care, that's twice daily. If it's once daily, if it is twice weekly, it varies. So with this domiciliary care, you'll be going to the house. You spend like 30 minutes to an hour in the home. When you go into the house, you do everything and then you go back. What some of these agencies do is that some of the agencies, gone are the days, I don't know if they are still doing it, they will pay you for the whole if it is 10-hour shift, if it's a 12-hour shift, they're going to pay you for the whole of the shift. Yeah, they don't mind how you manage your caseload. So they're going to be giving you, like, let's say 14 patients, and tell you that within the 10 hours, within the 12 hours, you have to go to all these 14 patients. Go to all the 14 patients, you manage your caseload, you do your own itinerary. Okay, so 8 o'clock, I'm going to go to Mrs. Rebecca, 30 minutes. From there, I'm going to Mrs. B, 30 minutes. And if you are driving, it's a plus for you because you can drive anywhere you want to drive. But what matters is that at the end of the 12 hours, at the end of the 10 hours, all these 14 people have to be visited and their needs have to be met. Now, what some of these agents are doing is that because they don't have the shift and they don't have the client, because mind you, when the hospital or the social services refer this patient for package of care, it's left for the social services to now liaise with agencies which arrange for these carers or domiciliary people to go in. So it's not every agency that has the connection to get jobs for clients. Do you get? They don't have clients, they don't have connection with the hospitals to say that, okay, so now man living in flat 14 will need QDS package of care, so let's get people to go there. It's not every agency that has that. So you go to people's homes, you render care, and that is what we call the domiciliary carer. If you are not careful, they don't get you clients. They will maybe get you 2 patients, 1 patient, and the whole day, because they don't want to lose out, and obviously are not working for it, so they will pay you for that 1 hour that you've done or 30 minutes that you've done for that patient, and that is it. And how can you survive like this? That is the tragedy and what is happening with, you know, this domiciliary care and everything. Then we have what we call the live-in carer. I forgot to mention this earlier. The live-in carer. So the live-in carer are carers that reside with the patient in their homes. So you have access to free accommodation. And this one, if you get it, I will tell you to go for it. If you're not the kind of person that is fussy or you don't mind living with people, you can go into this living carer. So basically you live with people in their home. You don't have to pay for accommodation, you don't have to pay for electricity and all of those bits. They arrange a special room for you. You live with them, you take care of the activities of daily living, you help them to do everything, and you still live with them. You have time off duty. So what they can do is that they will tell you that your timetable starts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. After that hour, it's your personal time. You can either choose to go out in the town or you can choose to, you know, stay indoors or whatever. But after that time, they will not disturb you. Most of the families will not disturb you. If you get a good family to live with, then the living carer is also a very good opportunity for you. The apprenticeship program and then the associate practitioner, mostly they work in hospitals and in care homes that are more advanced. They have these programs. So you basically are going to be schooling and working at the same time, and it's just a step away from nursing. So once you do that program, you get your license and you get into the nursing program. Healthcare is very, very reputable, and irrespective of which sector you find yourself in, once you do it with passion, you do it with love, it becomes a good thing. But to the bunch of scammers that are just using people, especially black people, you know why these people can never recruit anybody from this UK and they are still recruiting people from Africa? Is because people here know it. They know the challenges on the ground. They know it, especially domiciliary care, they will not go into it. That is why they are taking advantage of people from overseas. Please ask questions if you are not sure which company has invited, especially they are asking you for money. That is a red flag. This thing is free. If you say people don't believe it, if you tell them that, oh, this person came in for free, this person came in for free, they don't believe it. Anyway, believing is your choice. But what I'll tell you is that don't go into something that will drain every energy, every fiber of energy in you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Until we meet again in my next video, is bye. Bye-bye.